What's up, guys? Mike here. I'm sitting on top of the Pro Truck. We just got done Friday night practice. Today's Saturday morning. Went down to 417, did some practice at the Pro Truck, get more time in the seat. Better and better each time. Basically, we're still having issues with it overheating. We went ahead, we had to pull the tape off the front of the truck. We figured it was just hot. I mean, it's been hot in general in Florida. That's why I got this rag over my neck. It's just dang hot. So we pulled the tape off thing to get some more cooling out of it. Still hot. So we got about maybe 10 laps in. We start bumping up to around 230 degrees, which is hot for an aluminum head motor. So what we're gonna end up doing is eventually we're gonna have to change this water pump down here. This is just really a stock 1967 Corvette water pump, and we'll change that out with a nice aluminum one. We're gonna go ahead and redo the radiator and stuff like that, all the shrouding for the radiator, pull off some of the things of the fan, kind of get it to cool a little bit better. But other than that though, practice went quite well. Picked up some more tires for it. We've been running on old tires just for practice and stuff, and they're hard as a rock, so that has a lot to do with grip. We get about a couple laps in the truck, them tires start falling off. But we're gonna put new right side tires on it when we go to actually race it. Right now we're gonna be in our off season now because it's getting so hot in Florida. But we're gonna go ahead today, drain the fuel out of this thing, out of the carburetor. Went ahead and put some new fuel in there. Tank's all back together, all that's cleaned out, so we fixed that problem. Other than that though, truck went good. Had a lot of help at the track. Peter Meyer, which is a short track legend down here in Florida, off of Pine Island, he helped me out quite a bit. We were down there with Patrick Hutcherson's. They were checking out the 46 truck, getting that to handle all good. But yeah, it went pretty good, nice and successful. I'm happy with it. We just got to work on a couple of cooling issues and a couple other things. We had a little tire rub on the right side, but I'll show you all that. Okay, so what I was talking about is the front here. This is usually open down here. This is the induct, and then up top here we usually have this taped off, but we ended up pulling the tape off so we get it to cool a little bit better. I mean, this thing should have no problem cooling. We've got massive holes in here for cooling, so that shouldn't be the problem, is the holes. But we're thinking the problem is a combination between the water pump being cast iron, not relieving the heat, and two, our fan shrouding here, which when I got the radiator, it already had all that on it, so I didn't change it. I figured, you know, if they work for them, let's try it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove all this tin, everything from the back of the radiator, and we're just gonna tie the fan through. Because what we're thinking is happening is when we're going around the track, the air is coming through as fast as it can, but all this tin here is restricting the airflow. Because we're clocked at what, 81, 82 mile an hour on the track, so all the air is being restricted and it has to come through the fan. So it's not bypassing the fan, so we're getting a bad pressure through there. Two, it's not running through the motor and cooling it and stuff like that. But alternator worked out great. We still had a starter issue. I don't know if it's my button or the starter itself. It just clicked a couple times, and then after a while, me smashing, it was our last time we went out for practice. I didn't want to get back out of the truck. There's a lot of equipment to put on to get in one of these things. So I just started smashing the starter button to kind of get it to go, and it finally did go. Tires on here are pretty much wrecked. We done destroyed them. The right rear is peeled off completely. So we went out for that one last time and came in, the right rear is completely gone. But other than that though, good even wear. It's just they're older tires. But we've got some new tires in the back of my truck that we're gonna mount up on the left side and then mount up on the right side, and then when we go to race we'll put new right sides on, and we still got the medium fresh just for the left side. Another thing too, we're gonna put a new radiator cap on it. See a little bit of the water come out of it. Probably for one running 230, but I want to check my tank back there too, because I didn't see no water coming out of my overflow there, and it's by the windshield so that way you can see it. So I didn't see nothing like that. So most of all of our issues right now is just cooling. So we'll get that addressed in the off season and take care of that, and hopefully we have some good runs. We did pretty good on time for running old tires. We probably had the oldest tires out there. We're still running pretty good. But yeah, now I'm just gonna pull the hat off and take the line off, cap it, let this thing run out of fuel so that fuel ain't sitting in the carburetor, And then I got my fire suit and everything back there on the back of the bed. It was just from head to toe, I was soaked. I had the underlayer on there, and then I had the fire suit on there, and then the helmet and all that, and the radio gear, and they had a lot of stuff to put on, so it just got real hot. But other than that though, fuel pump worked right on it. All the filters, all that cleaned up good. So we had no problems with it. We did a float adjustment and idle air mixture at the house before we brought it out to the track. That helped tremendously. So the motor sounds good. It's got plenty of power. It's crisp all the way up to the end of the track, from the start of the track to the end of the track, going in, coming out. Good power. But, yep, gonna pull the hat off, cap the fuel line, and I don't know if I showed it or not, because we're having issues with diagnosing different things. I put a fuel pressure gauge on the inlet so that way we can actually see if we are getting correct fuel pressure instead of guessing. So I'll show you that once I pull the hat off. So our setup for fuel is fuel comes into the pump, comes out of the pump, comes back up to a -6 line. This -6 line runs up here. This is actually a hyper fitting off a Micro Sprints, an HBS fitting. And then this is a XXX fitting. It's a -6 female, and then a -6 male end. And then it's just got an 1/8 inch NPT port for the fuel pressure gauge. But all this is just there, just kind of help us along, you know, if we're having fueling issues or anything like that. But it ran good, no problems like that. It was getting hot, but like anything else, everything's a work in progress. So just gonna undo this line here, cap it, start the truck up, let it run out of fuel, so that way I know the bowl's empty and all that, everything like that, and we should be good to go. Pressure should be good. A couple pumps. One more time. Couple pumps. And hit it. I think we're out, so we should be good. And we'll cut power. And done. We'll take a look at some of the tires I picked up here. So these are practice tires. They're not race tires. They got plenty of life left in them. These are right afterwards. This was a 511 of 19. So that's when this one was last race. So we've got 27s for the right side, and we've got 26s, 26.5s for the left side. So some are blued pretty good. Some are just dirty. Could be cleaned up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then my 7, which is mounted on the rim. That was in case I had a bad tire or something like that at the track. I could at least roll it back on the trailer. My stands have been working out real good. I ended up bringing 3 jugs of fuel. I only ended up filling up 10 gallons and putting 10 gallons in the truck, which gave me about a 3/4 of a tank. So that one I didn't end up filling up. But these are all marked on them. The stagger and the diameter of them. We rolled them all at the track. Like that one's marked, you know, 84 3/4 at 26 pounds of pressure. So now it's just the process of basically pulling all this out. I got some tires in the back I got to look at, but pulling all these out and cleaning them up and check stagger on them one more time, and we'll swap them out on them other rims one day. I show you the tire rub we had at the track. Down here, it's been rubbing when this wheel gets turned in. We were real loose a couple times before we just started doing adjustments with stagger, so we had to use a lot more steering input, so I ended up just dragging the fender there, and it's got a couple marks on the tire where it's been rubbing. but that's all easy to be trimmed up and stuff like that. It's all fiberglass, so it's easy to trim up. Brakes were good. I really started smelling them towards the end. Our third run out, I really started pushing it and running hard in the corner, stay on the gas as late as I can, and then jab on the brakes. I started turning the bias up. I didn't get no footage because I kind of forgot, and then the footage from last time didn't come out too good. So unfortunately, I don't have any footage. I'll put some footage in there for you guys to watch from past things. But brakes were good. We embedded the brakes in real good. I got them working. I went ahead and cranked the bias up. Last practice, we were too much on rear bias. So this practice, I cranked up the bias each time I went out. I went one click forward, started putting more bias to the front, more bias to the front. And it actually did work out quite well. I had a lot of braking power, which was nice. So we got them embedded in real good, nice and even. And they're equal across the front. There's no split with more left front or right front on this. It's either biased to the front or the rear or in the middle. Right now I've got, if I were to guess, I probably got about a 65 or 70% front versus the rear. So some guys run more than that. That's what I'm running right now. If I need to, I could always change it. I have the adjuster inside the truck. Other than that though, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a weekend. They are racing tonight. We're not going to bother because we've got a couple things we got to fix. But yeah, just going to clean up here, pull my helmet out, my fire suit, wash all that stuff because it just needs to be cleaned. Even though it's asphalt track and you don't get dirty, you get sweaty because there ain't no airflow in that truck. You ain't no airflow at all. Sprint's all open. You can breathe in there. That truck can't breathe in that truck. But just going to clean up around here, get all this settled out and maintenance back up. RV didn't start, so I got a battery charger on that. We're going to take that today if we did race. Well, it's kind of a good thing we didn't end up racing because that don't start. So we'll have to look at that, but appreciate you guys watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you do like the video, give us a like. If you don't like the video, dislike it. I want to know if it's good content or bad content because that'll help me produce better videos for you guys. We are going to work on getting the spotter audio in the chat inside the videos because during practice we did have the audio and my father was spotting. There's a couple good funny moments in there about eating ice cream, and guy in front of us was number 92 for practice, and I was behind him 93, so it was 92, 93. I was like, where's 94? So we'll try to get that in there, do more videos with the truck. We got the sprint coming up, so just hang on for the ride. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so what I was talking about is here's the radiator with all the tin and the shield and the fan and everything off. Nice and clean. It looks a whole lot more bigger. Now, I was talking about as far as airflow. This is my airflow for the inside. We did pull the tape off, but this is usually all you need is right here. But we pulled the tape off to try to make a difference, and even then we really didn't make too much of a difference. So, what I'm thinking of doing is removing all this tin around this fan because I believe this tin covers up the rest of the radiator, and as the air is moving through it, it's having to be forced through the fan, and the fan is restricting it, and the air can't go around the tin and bypass it. So it's not, the fan's only spinning as fast as it can. Mark speed on this is 81, 82 mile an hour, so that air should be rushing through here. But we're not even getting the air coming through the cool off, the headers, just the air coming in here in general. So we're going to go ahead and remove all that tin on there and then re-secure the fan back in here and then check it one more time. So at least with it being like this, it's all open, now, so there's no more restriction because that was just capped off any extra space for the radiator. And it's a fairly large radiator, double pass radiator. So it's not like we're small on that end. But I'm going to go ahead and pull that off and check the fan out too and go from there. Alright, so we got the fan out. I'm trying to do this with a limited amount of time between the weather and everything else in Florida. Amazingly, they got racing in last night. I didn't think they would. Every other track up north closed down for rain, but 417 actually still raced, which was pretty surprising. So, we got the fan. I'm going to lay the fan there. And what I'm going to do is we're going to use zip ties. high temperature zip ties. We're going to use washers to go through the zip ties on both the front and the back of the radiator to add some extra support to the loops that are already here. So right now I'm just going to figure out a position where to mount the fan and see how much open air space I do have after I mount it. So after all said and done, you get your zip ties through there, your backing washers to kind of hold it in place, keeps the zip tie from pulling through. You can use nylon washers, you can use steel washers. Nylon washers will be better as far as there's no chance of it rubbing through the radiator, which, you know, yes and no, it can. There's always that chance, but it just depends on what you want to use. But so we've got the radiator, not the radiator, sorry, the fan set in place. A little bit of movement there, which is fine. I'm fine with that. So washer, zip tie goes through with the washer on all the ends. So it keeps the fan secured and in place. And then through the front, pull off your grill tape or whatever you got there. You'll see there, you just cut your ends off. There you go, you're secured in through the front of your radiator. So now, instead of that big hunk of tin we have there covering up the radiator, now we have the radiator basically all open now, so hopefully it'll, as well as pull air through the fan shroud itself that's already there, and also when we get up to speed, it will push air around it. So, because what's happening when we get up to speed, the fan, it can't bypass the fan. Now we remove the tin, it should be able to bypass the fan and cool the water off in the engine. So as far as that goes, I think that is pretty much done. I am going to check my overflow tank back here. I still don't think my temperature gauge is reading right, because at 230 degrees I should be having a boil over, which I'm not. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen that up, see if I get any water. If I get any water, then yeah, I am escaping water here. That, and I do know I need a new cap. That could be a cause of it. But when we were at the track and I pulled the cap off because I thought maybe we are boiling over, we had plenty of water in it, which we were all the way to the top at the track. So I definitely need to flush this again. Seems to be an ongoing thing with this. So definitely need to pull the radiator out, flush it. We're going to run a hose into the engine and flush all that too and get the thing cooling system nice and working again. And then the water pump, we're going to change to an aluminum water pump to kind of help with heat dissipation. Right now this is just a Corvette 67, I believe it's a 67 Corvette water pump. So we're going to change that out for an aluminum water pump. That'll help too, as the air is coming through here to also cool off the water pump, which in turn hopefully cools off the water temp. So, but other than that though, guys, thanks for watching. Y'all have a good work week. We'll maybe see you next week. I don't know how much I'll be able to get done. But other than that though, everything's going good. Hopefully we're in our off season right now with the asphalt track racing, because it gets so hot in Florida. I know I probably got grease on my face. That's normal. We're on our off season for asphalt track racing, circle track. It just gets so hot in Florida, so we take a break for a little bit, and then after that we'll come back. So next time we come back off a break, we will have this thing actually racing on the track in an actual race, because we've gotten farther and farther along with it. And we're at the point now, as far as clocking times, that we put a new set of sticker tires on here we'll be competitive. Then all we got to do is stay clean and be there at the end. Other than that though, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh man, smells like tires in here. Oh wait, that's why.